We are very, very glad you're here. I'm Jeff. I'm going to be your host tonight for our conversation. I've been working with Circles a little over a year and a half. Love the company. I've had the privilege and honor of actually hosting our CEO, Erod, here in the US. He's been on business and I got a chance to meet him, host him here with my wife and family. We were just thrilled to be able to meet him. He's got a wonderful heart. Those of you that don't know the story of Circles, very quickly, Erod's mother was going through cancer, and during that time he was trying to provide support as much as he could, and he noticed that his support, if you would, was falling a bit short. There was still a lack of connection even though he was the son. And he said, Jeff, I walked in one time and mom was on the phone with a friend of hers that was also going through cancer, and he said, I heard this connection, this magical connection between them. And he said, in fact, she had kind of lit up. She was laughing, joking with this friend on the phone, which was so neat to see. And he said it dawned on him that people need support from people who are going through what they are going through. And hence was birthed the vision for Circles. Erod's very passionate about people not being alone when they're going through difficult life crisis. So for the last 3 years now, the effort is to bring the app to the marketplace, to bring Circles to the world, and it is growing leaps and bounds. We are also thankful that you are all here. Now, what's so cool about Circles is that someone can come on Circles 24/7 and get support, never have to be alone when you're going through a difficult time. I don't know about you all, but I'm going to throw up some love for that, because I know there's been plenty of dark times in my life that I wish that I had somebody to talk to. And it's good to know that there's always someone there. So we're very thankful that you're all here. I see some more faces coming in. Marla, my friend Marla is here. Thank you for being here, Marla. It's been a little while since I've seen you. I love it. I love having you here. Antoinette is here. All right, my favorite question of the hour, and then we're going to get our guest started. I cannot wait. You better hold on to your seat. We're hoping to deliver some, well, I'm going to just pause right there, and I won't give it all away, but it's going to be a great time. We've got Atlanta, Georgia's in the house. I appreciate that. So good to have you here. My next favorite question is, if you could be a candy bar, what candy bar would you be? Come on, somebody. Light up the chat. Tell me what resonates with you. If you could be a candy bar, what candy bar out there would you be? Hit us up in the chat. Let us know. There's no personality test attached to this. It's just a silly question to let us know what you're thinking. Tamara, it's good to see you. Rachel, it's good to have you in the house. Mo is in the house. I'm just reading all the names. It's good to have you here. Lots of first timers in the house tonight too. So I appreciate you all. Who are we? What kind of candy bar are we? It's starting to come in right now. I see craving a Twix, but would be a Reese's. I love it. Thank you, Ren, for sharing. We got Snickers in the house. Three Musketeers. I love it. Susan's visiting us tonight from Chicago. Thank you, Suzanne. It's good to have you here. Our guest tonight also is a Snickers. My wife always says I'm a Snickers. It's kind of like you've seen that commercial, right? When somebody's out of character and they say you need a Snickers. So as soon as they bite that Snickers, they're back in character. So I don't know if it actually works or not. I just know that that's a funny one. Tomorrow's a Nestle Crunch. I love that. $100,000 bar. There it is, Jim. There it is. I'll take $100,000 bar, right? So I appreciate the perspective. I know it's not a candy bar, but I'd be a kind bar. I got it, because I could be anything. I would be kind. Oh, Rachel, you are getting some love in the chat from me. I appreciate that comment. There is a kind bar. There is. You're right. There is. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, my friends, are you all ready in the house tonight? It's good to have you here. Settle in, and let's get ready for a dynamic conversation with our guest. I'm going to introduce, and then we are going to get started. Again, my name is Jeff. You are live on Circles Masterclass, and we are going to dive into our conversation. So our guest today is coming with 25 years of mastery in coaching, creating, and running masterminds and retreats. Her passion is helping women of influence and affluence to reconnect with their dreams and build profitable businesses and brands doing what they genuinely love. Now, she is currently the Chief Visionary Officer of Destiny Game Changers and a much sought after transformation coach and consultant for executives, heart-centered coaches, and nonprofit organizations. Her experiences in arts and entertainment industry has allowed her to help hundreds of creatives live their dream and serve more people, attract high-end clients, and scale their business. An outcome of her work is this area is stress management and self-care. Don't we all need self-care these days? And she runs these workshops in high pressure, front facing positions in nonprofit sector. Known as, come on, hold on to your seats, friend. She's known as the Dream Doula. She helps her clients to reconnect with the power and passion of their dreams and bring to life her mantra: your dream is the roadmap to your destiny, in a way that feels right and affirming for you. Friends on Circles tonight, would you please help me welcome our guest, Roz Clark. Roz, thank you so much for being with us. Show some love in the house for our guests. Hello, Miss Roz.
Hey, everyone. First of all, Jeff, thank you so much for this invitation, for this opportunity, and for everybody in the room. First of all, thank you for the love. I'm so excited. It's like whenever you're in a venue, you want to feed off of that energy. So I want to thank you and encourage you to continue to stay connected, stay vibed in, because I'm here to serve you. As my makeup artist used to say, baby, I'm here to help you. So I'm here to serve you. I'm here to share with you. And so just a quick question. How many people in the space have a dream? Do you have a dream? Show me some love or put something in the chat. Do you have a dream? How many people in here have a dream?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, a lot of dreamers. And here's the thing. How many of you trust and believe that your dream is possible? Do you trust and believe that your dream is possible? Yeah, so that's really cool. And so the reason that I asked you that is because it is my belief, like Jeff shared, I believe that our dreams are the roadmap to our destiny. Like that thing that has been in us forever and ever, amen. That thing that you kind of just know yourself to be. And even if there's been things and occurrences in life that made it go away, it's still there whispering. It's still that small whisper. And so I want to share a little bit with you of how the whisper continued to inform me and encourage me on my journey. So I was a precocious, talented young woman who grew up in a working class, blue collar neighborhood in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And yet I always had these dreams. I used to watch MGM musicals and all of the different movies and things like that. And I just always wanted to be that. And yet I was a woman of color. Well, I was a child of color at that time. And so I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me on the screen, but yet there was something in me that I knew that was meant for me. And so, quintessential African-American singer. I grew up, in the church, in the African-American church, singing in the choir. Thought I was going to grow up and become Patti LaBelle or Diana Ross and change gowns every 2 songs. And then came to find out that I was a classical soprano. Found that out at 13 years old. And I had no point of reference for that. I didn't really know what that looked like or what that meant because I didn't know who Leontine Price was or who Marian Anderson was. And so, I continued on my journey and fast forward, started auditioning for college. Every program I auditioned for was like, yeah, we'll take you in the opera department. I was like, okay, God, opera it is. And then I turned 21 in Paris, and, which was just like, wow, I can do this. I'm here. And so I thought I was on track to have an international career as a classical soprano. And I came back to the States and, still working on my craft, got married. My second child was born with special needs. And so he had his first seizure at 8 months old. And when I tell you, you have never seen anything that small, shaped that hard. And so as he shook, it shook me to the core of my being because I didn't know what came next. I just knew that singing was not as important at the time. It was him living, and how do I make that happen? And so I made the decision to release my, that part of my dream and, focus on caring for him. My first child was an incredibly talented daughter. And so she's highly gifted. And so she had her own set of special needs. And so I gave up my career, supported my husband. I was married at the time, of course, and I'm not now. And, just continue to care for my family and just kind of look at how things go and like what comes next. And my marriage turned very toxic and dysfunctional and, uncomfortable and 50 shades of crazy and not safe and EIEIO. And so after 30 years, I left. I made the decision to walk away. And because it was the healthiest thing for me, it was the right thing for me, and it was time to make a difference. It was time to move in a different direction. And so ended up going through a period of homelessness because one of the challenges in our marriage was financial irresponsibility. Some people would even call it financial abuse. I didn't know that at the time. I was just like, okay, I got to keep a roof over my family's head. And so left, went through that journey. And like I said, homeless for 3 months, and yet knew that there was more, knew that I was meant for more. And like, how many people have been like in a really crazy situation and it felt like hopeless, and yet there was something inside of you that you still knew that there was more. You knew that something else better was supposed to come. And so that's what I trusted. And so a year later, after all of that, I flew back to Paris for the first time to celebrate my 60th birthday. So I hadn't been in Paris since I was 21 years old. I flew back to Paris to celebrate my birth and my rebirth. And so in that journey, I reconnected with that 21-year-old girl. So I didn't need to be 21 again, but I needed to be that dreamer. I needed to reconnect with that young woman who thought that anything was possible, because I was now in a position that I had to recreate and rebuild my life. And so I needed her more than ever. And so that's how my passion and my commitment to how dreams can continue to pull you forward, even in the darkest and scariest times of our life.
Yeah. What a beautiful start to our conversation, Roz. Anybody in the house got goosebumps already? I know I do. And I'm taking 1,000 pages of notes already. We're talking, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Roz Clark. She is a dream doula. You heard me right, a dream doula. Tonight is Birthing Dreams, an intimate evening with a dream doula. So interesting you said. I wonder if you could back up just a little bit, Roz, and talk about, did you always know that there was something special inside of you? Did you always have this dream from a little girl? And then how did you identify maybe what that dream was? Can you tell us a little bit around that? How were you able to identify that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first answer is absolutely, positively, yes. I knew I was special. I knew I was different. And one of the things that I do in my work, because we're all that, we all have something uniquely planted in us. I say all the time that we were created by a divine creator to be creative. And so, depending on wherever your faith is, there's a beautiful scripture that says that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And so knowing that the divine dwells within me, the divine created me to be this person. So yeah, I always knew that I was different. I always knew that I was special. I knew that I really did believe that anything was possible, even when people were saying, girl, nobody from here does that. Nobody from here has ever been that. And yet, like I said, in the first place that dreaming started, literally, obviously the movies, but there was also a touring company called the Ice Capades. I think they're still around. And so they would come to Pittsburgh every year, and my mom would take us to the Ice Capades. And we would be in, because there was an igloo, it's gone now, but in Pittsburgh there was it was called the Civic Arena, and it was this domed igloo, and there's this huge venue, and like when the lights and the music and the skating, I was like, oh my gosh, light, skating, music, that's me. I'm not going to skate, but that's me, so I always felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be in the light. I just really believed, I always believed that I was supposed to be in the light. And so when I made the decision to transition, I still found that. And yet I realized that I was also supposed to be the light. And so that, I think, is that part of you that you know that you're different, or you know that you're special, or you know that you have something to give. That is the part in each and every one of us. And that's one of the things that I really lean into and love into with my clients is I want your light to shine. I don't want you to dim it. I don't want you to hold back. I don't want you to apologize for it. Let your light shine. So yeah, that was just always something, like I said, from the time I was a little girl, I knew that I wanted to be on the stage. I knew that I wanted to be in the light. And then, like I said, as life, started lifing, then I realized that I also had to be the light.
Yeah. I love what you just said. I'm putting it in the chat. When life started lifing. Anybody in the house tonight know exactly what Roz is talking about? When life starts lifing? That is such a profound way to say it. Yes, because we have already heard you thought you were going to have this career of this opera singer. So you had this one dream that was already being birthed in you. And it sounds like that came to a halt when life started lifing, and you had these other responsibilities. So you had to lay down what you were so passionate about to tend to this other part that you were so passionate about. That had to be difficult, Roz, yes?
Now this is really funny. Yes and no. So there wasn't like this big heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching, oh my God, can I give it up? It was like, it wasn't even, it was like done. Like this is what has to happen, and this is where I am. And part of that part was because of how I identified, and that's actually how some of the challenges in my marriage came up, because at that time, I identified as a rescuer. So I was always rescuing people. I was rescuing my girlfriends. I was that girlfriend that everybody came and cried to and told their sad story to. And I was the girl that was like, no, but you can do this, and you're bright and you're talented. So I was always that cheerleader and that rescuer. And yet at a young age, and even in my marriage, because I actually, I got married a little later in life. I was like 27, and I had my daughter, I think, when I was like 30. So I was a little older in that, and yet I was the strong one. I was the one that was responsible. I was the one that needed. It never occurred to me that I wasn't supposed to sacrifice what I wanted to make sure that I could take care of my family.
Yeah.
And I did that, though, over the years, to my own disservice.
Now talk to us, because you just struck a chord, I think. Talk to us more about that.
So what I would say is, and do we have any rescuers in the room? We have anybody who like rescuers, like inherent, like I'm going to fix it. I can make it right. So even with the person that I married, who I loved when I married them, I set an intention because they were broken. They had been married before, and they were in a broken situation. And one of the things that I really am intentional about is that I tell my story without telling his as much as possible. Sometimes you have to, just to put it for context, but my healing process was to release his part of the story, or what did or didn't happen, so that I could own my part of the story, hold that person accountable for their part, and yet do my healing from owning my own. And so if you guys hear some humming in the background, that's my guy, that's my son. So he hums. So you may hear him a little bit in the background. So I hope nobody's thrown off by
I
that.
love it.
Yeah, that's who he is.
No, we're
being
serenaded while you're talking,
yeah.
Roz. I love it. Yeah, we're being
So,
serenaded. I love
you.
it. Go ahead.
So,
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, so in that, like, okay, I'm going to be the one, I'm going to make it right. I'm going to do, and of course, the first thing I wanted to do with my son was to fix him, like, oh God, fix him. Oh God, fix him. Oh God, please fix him. Let me get everything, blah, 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 like all of that. And over the years, what I realized is that God fixed me. God gave me peace, and God gave me grace, and God gave me strength. And so even in the disappointments in what happened with my marriage, and to go from loving someone to then not feeling safe, all of those things, some people would have this story, the narrative, I wasted 30 years of my life. That's not my story, because that was my journey. That was what led me to where I am today. That's what led me to be wiser in using my healing gifts. So now I'm not a rescuer. I identify more as somebody who works in the healing area, so that there are some people that are not my client. They're not my responsibility. They're not the person that I'm meant to work with. I'm for a very specific kind of person that is at a certain place in their life. And so the people who are not ready for me, I don't judge them. As a matter of fact, I'll give them a referral if I can. And yet I can release them and know that I'm not called to them. And so that was part of my journey over 30 years of saying, I can't fix this person. I can't save this person. I can only move forward and save myself, and consequently save and protect and provide for my children, because there was nothing in place. So when you have a special needs son and there's no, a special needs trust, there's nothing put in place, I could have stayed there and continued to argue and pull and whatever, or I made the choice that I made, like, it's not going to happen here. So I need to move in a different direction. So that's how wisdom came, through experience, through hurt, through pain, through clarity of fine-tuning my gift and finding a way to honor my gift, that I didn't feel like I had to save everyone.
Yeah, you resonate with me. I've got a couple of points to follow up. I love what the chat is going off to, Roz. I love what Rachel just dropped in the chat. She said, when I think about fixing someone, there is an underlying unspoken connotation that they are broken. And she goes on to say, people aren't broken. This is something that she is learning. Rachel's so profound. It's taken me a long time. And I think that's what I'm hearing you say too, Rosie. We start off a rescuer, but turn into a healer. We start off a fixer, but turn into a healer, because we're realizing that people aren't broken. You said something else that was so profound. You said that it wasn't your story, it was your journey. Oh, that is so profound, because so many of us, we get caught up in our story, right? Do you mind sharing a little bit? What was that awareness? What was that light bulb that went off in you that caused you to realize, no, this isn't what's happened to me. This is what's happened for me. This is a part of my journey. It's not my story. Can you help us a little bit there?
So, and it's really interesting. I love how you tapped into that, because what is interesting about that is that because I am a creative, because I am an artist, I am a storyteller. I tell stories, I create I create worlds. That's one of the things I love about the theaters. You walk into a Black space with a single light bulb hanging on that stage, and by the time you get done in that collaborative process, you have created a world that people believe in. And so being a storyteller, what you have to learn is, like you said, the life is your journey. And even if part of it is the story, you cannot get stuck in your story. You have to learn how to stand on your story. So you have to be able, it's the vantage point from where you tell your story. Because, like, obviously, if I'm a coach and I'm a depressed coach, and I mean, and don't get me wrong, we've all had depression. We all go through it. We have times when we're up and we have times when we're down. And yet I can't stay stuck where I am because I can't heal myself. I can't lead. I can't bring anybody else through. And so that's the wonderful thing about working and learning in community. That's what I love about the concept of this app, that as we heal in circles. My maternal grandmother used to always say, everybody gets a turn at the wheel. And I loved that expression. And so for me, I always saw the wheel as, like, on the old ships, and they would turn the wheel on the ship to guide it and direct it. And so sometimes you're at the top of the wheel, and then there's a wind or a shift in the current, and you've got to turn that wheel, and you're at the bottom. And yet everybody who's in that circle with you can support you in that evolution and in that experience. And yet none of us can stay stuck where we are. And so if I'm going to be the storyteller and I'm helping people to take ownership of their gifts, take ownership of their talents, take ownership of their dream, then we have to find a way that we incorporate everything that has happened to us and through us in a way that empowers us and propels us forward.
Yeah, so profound. I love it. The conversations that are going on in the chat. I know Angelina just shouted out, I needed to hear this today. We're already making a difference around that. You asked me in a pre-call, Jeff, what did you want to accomplish tonight? And I said, I just want to make a difference in somebody's life, and we're already doing that. I love it. And Tamara said, I'm comforted by calling it my journey and not my story. I'm so glad you found that to be comforting. You said something just a second ago, Rosin, I got goosebumps. The hair on my arm is still standing up. You said something about using your gift. And what I correlated it to is using your gift even when you feel like you're broken and your gift doesn't work. I don't know in your journey. Here's what I've learned about a gift. A gift works. A gift works. You could be having the worst freaking day of your life. You could be fully depressed, completely out of it, thinking you have no value, struggling with your own self-worth, you name it. And someone comes along that is in need of something, and it ignites something in you. And that powerful person in you supersedes that less than person, and that person comes out and provides healing, have you ever had that happen to you, Ross? I remember I've served in hospice and palliative care for 15 years. So as a spiritual care worker and a grief and crisis counselor, I was called to these houses to help these people through this difficult time, right? Well, this is at the end of my day, Roz. I'm exhausted. I got in a road fight with the guy. Don't throw anything at me, friends. I'm just being honest here. I mean, I'm shouting at the guy who was trying to cut me off all the way to the house. And I get to the house, so humanly, I'm a mess. I don't have anything to give. But there's something magical that happens when they open the door and invite me in. All of that me, that fleshly me, seems to disappear. And here comes compassion and love and forgiveness and gentleness. And now I get to give this healing out to these people. That comes from a different place than our natural side. Are you following what I'm saying, Roz?
Oh,
I know
absolutely.
You've had to experience that, right?
Gosh. Sure, absolutely. And it's so funny because I was just having this conversation not too long ago. And when we are in the coaching profession, the healing profession, whatever that is, everybody expects us to levitate and walk on water all the time, and it's like you're saying, it's not possible. It's just not humanly possible. And so one of the things is when I was younger, I will say, and yet as I bring this to a clear point, I have a temper. And so I really had to learn how to deal with my temper. And so, like, when my marriage was such a hot mess, and I was like in this whole spiritual space of, I'm going to meditate and I'm going to pray and I'm going to do yoga and I'm going to do EIEIO, and I don't do stress and I don't do this and that. When I tell you, my body grabbed hold of me and said, "Oh, yeah, we do. Yes, we do." And so what I did was I had developed, because I did not speak it. And I say all the time, if it does not come out of your mouth, it's going to show up in your body. And so I created and manifested an autoimmune dis-ease, the dis-ease in my life, the pain in my life, the anger in my life that I was not expressing. While I thought I had a handle on it, all I had done is turned it in internally, and turned my body. And that's the thing about autoimmune diseases, your body starts attacking itself.
Yes.
And so, just like you're saying that, we have these moments. And so, like I said recently, I was talking about, and I was like, I don't want, I said it in a way like I used to be, and I said, no, I didn't used to be. I'm still that. Like, that girl is still in her, still in there. That capacity to be angry or to be, quick or whatever that is, it never goes away. That's my opinion. And then I can speak for myself. It
Yeah.
doesn't go away. You learn to manage it. And so then if it does fly up and, come up, you're like, oh, wow, I thought I had that covered.
Yeah.
And that's the time that we have to extend ourselves grace, because
Yes.
that's the thing that we don't do enough of. We may have grace for others, and yet we don't have a way of having grace for ourselves.
Yeah. So well said. I love this conversation, friends. I love it. Thank you so much for being here, Roz. Friends, if you're in the house tonight, there's lots of conversation in the chat. And I think we ignited something here, Roz. And that is, friends, we do not have to be perfect to be us. What we have to stop doing is trying to be perfect. What we're doing is we're saying, oh, yes, I feel that I got this gift, right, Roz? I feel that I have this dream, but yet I don't know this and I don't know that, and I don't feel confident there and I don't feel that yet. So I'm going to keep this dream packed down deep inside of me until I reach that feeling like I am together, got it together, am worthy, and then I'll start using my gift to help other people. Friend, can I help you tonight? And can Roz help you tonight? You will continue to be disappointed after disappointment if you do not use your gift, because the gift gets ready as you give it out. Right,
Yes.
Roz? The gift
Yes.
is in motion. A gift in motion brings healing. And remember, the gift is not even about us. The more we think we have to do to allow the gift to use or go through us, the more we get in its way. And then I want to bounce back to what else you said, Roz, about it's always in you. That brings up, my mother was very spiritual, and she always taught me in the Christian Bible, there's a Apostle Paul, and he talked about having this experience. He said, the things that I know that I should do, those are the things that I don't do. But the things that I know that I shouldn't do, I do those things. Anybody in the house relate it? In other words, when you should keep your mouth shut and not cuss the person out, you open your mouth and cuss the person out. The things that you know you should do, you don't do. But the things you know you shouldn't do, there you do. So he concludes this with this statement: there are two of me in me, one that's good and one that's not so good. He says, so this thing I know, I am going to lean into that spirit part of me and operate the best I can there. And I'm going to lean in to the fleshly part of me and I'm going to operate there. So he never tries to shut the one down. He tries to simply be present with a higher self, right? Roz, you hear and feel what I'm saying? Gosh.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like all of that, what you said. And, he went on to say that I have to die to the flesh daily. Like every day I have to keep, I have to keep that in check, or I have to, and it's not keep it in check, because that's the other thing that I think sometimes we bring an energy to situations that doesn't serve us, like, I should be better by now. I should be further by now. Like I said, I wasted XYZ amount of time. No. Like Jeff, you said earlier, like, when we get to that space that we understand that life is not happening to us, it's happening for us. And here's another thing, it's happening through us. Because again, if I come back to the divine that is in each and every one of us, that when we allow that to flow through us and come out and manifest in a way that the people that we are called to and that are called to us, that is where the gifting happens. And I think one of the other things that I really want to tap on and touch on too is, again, not to judge where you've been, because I could say I wasted 30 years, or I could say that this wasn't fair. I could say a whole lot of things, but what I know is that what is meant for me is for me. And some of the stuff that I have to go through is part of what shines that makes that light shine,
Yes.
Clears and cleans that, buffers whatever is in me. And so I really want everybody on here, no matter what you are dealing with, I really want you to know that where you are is where you are, and more than likely are supposed to be for the moment. It's not where you have to stay. And you don't have to judge what has gone on. And so even down to me, like when I made the decision to walk away after 30 years, I didn't have to make all of that wrong. So like for my clients, a lot of my clients are leaving C-suites and moving to start new businesses and things like building their business, their brand, doing the things that they're passionate about. So it doesn't make them being a great corporate executive wrong. It means that they're complete. They're complete in that part of their life, and they can move on to next. So you don't have to judge what was before. Even if it felt like a mistake, even if it was a poor choice, you can just let that be the launching pad for next. So you don't have to leave one thing judging it. You can leave that thing and say that I'm complete. That's complete. That's no longer part of my story, my journey, my experience. That part is complete. Now I'm moving to next.
Yeah. Matt Kahn, the author, wrote a book, and one of the points that he made in his book, I think the book is titled "The Universe Has Your Back" or something to that effect. But one of his main points, Roz, was you could not be who you are today without everything happening in your life exactly the way it happened. It's trusting your steps, right? It is trusting our steps. I've always, when I work with clients, we always talk about, they say, Jeff, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would do. And I stop them. I said, no, you wouldn't. Because if you and I, friends, if you're listening tonight, if you had the chance to go back, quote unquote, go back and do it all over again, the challenge is you would be that same person that you were back then, because you can't take this knowledge back with you then and make different choices. You would be the same person. So you would make the exact same choice, which means those choices were guiding stones along the way, right? They were nudges. I call them gentle nudges, right, Roz, that help lead us here. I want to thank you, everybody, for being with us. We're listening to Roz Clark. She's a dream doula, and hold on to your seats, because we're going to start talking now about this doula purpose in your life, Roz. How did you come about with this word dream doula? Where did that birth from? There's a good word for us to talk about.
There you go.
Where did they get birthed from?
And I think more than anything, it was literally through just working with my clients, working with the people who were in transition, and and especially like those people with pent up dreams, or, like they feel stuck or trapped where they are. And what I say all the time is that we are pregnant with possibility and potential. And so we've got this experience, we've got this thing in us that's crying out to be lived. And this goes back to what we're talking about with the challenges and the discomfort, because that's the thing. If you don't have the discomfort, and I literally was just on a podcast the other day speaking about the same thing, they were talking about the using the metaphor of water. And so I'll share a little bit of that. So if you're feeling the discomfort, so that, like, because you've gotten the baby, you were pregnant, and then the baby is growing, and of course the baby's uncomfortable too because there's less and less space, and so your baby and your body are fighting for space and discomfort, and so there's this discomfort that's happening. So it's the same thing when we have this passion and this dream and this idea, and we're so uncomfortable because, like, it's not here and it's not happening and all of that. And so when we were talking about the whole part of the water, because there's so many spiritual metaphors in water. Water is cleansing, and water is anointing, and water is clearing. And the thing that happens in the birth process is that your water breaks to clear a path for your dream to come forward. And yet you wouldn't know that until you experience the discomfort, because the discomfort lets you know that you're outgrowing this, or your dream is growing to the point that it is now time to first breathe and get clear and get the support that you need and get the coaching that you need and get the insight that you need. And then you breathe and the water breaks and then you push.
Oh my, can you just sit in that for a second? Oh my, anybody else in the house got goosebumps? Oh my, I love the metaphor. Discomfort, I put it in the chat, friends. Discomfort lets us know that we're outgrowing where we're at. But the water, I want you to go deeper, Ross. The water has to break.
Yes. Yes.
There's things in our life that have to break. Talk to us about that.
So yeah, and again, like, whatever your spiritual practice is, there are so many different ways of, so like I said, that's why I love when I was invited to be on in this conversation, like this whole idea of the water. So that, and again, I'm going to come back to the circle, because community, because one of the things that I shared, like and especially in the old Black church, the people went to the river to get baptized, and they would sing that hymn, "Take me to the water." Take me to the water. And then this moan would happen, and then all the voices would come together. Take me to the water. And so there was this community that they were not only bearing witness, they were holding space for that birthing process, for that cleansing process, so that when you went down in the water, metaphorically and physically, so you went down in the water physically, but metaphorically, you came back up as a new being. You came back up with all these new possibilities. You came up clean and free and loose. And there was this community that bore witness to that truth, that you're no longer bound by what bound you before. You're no longer tied to what held you back. You're healed, you're delivered, you're clear. And it doesn't mean in that moment that it's like, oh, poof, rainbows and unicorns, everything goes away. What it does is now you have created something in the spirit realm that allows everything to come and begin to align with your calling and with your gifting and with your greatness. And so that is what that water, that metaphor of the water, that metaphor of community, that metaphor of cleansing and healing in circles, of bearing witness. Somebody said the whole idea of everybody gets a turn at the wheel resonates with them, so that when that wheel gets too hard or it's spinning too fast or whatever, somebody else will step up and hold the wheel with you. And sometimes they'll hold the wheel for you. And so that's how we get to show up in community. And those of us who are coaches, what we want to do is we want to coach our clients to the point that they either don't need us, or that they are doing and becoming an extension of our work, so that more people get what you have and what they need.
Yeah. You just struck a chord in me. I have to honor Angelina in the chat. She said, I had to pull over. I'm in tears. It's like I see me in her. I've been knowing I am on the right path, and I have the signs from my higher power showing me I'm right where I need to be. Things are breaking, and I'm not afraid of it breaking anymore.
Amen.
Amen, amen. Thank you for sharing. The work is being done in the house, Roz. We just said it on our pre-call. What did we need to do? Sing that. Just sing a line of that old spiritual hymn you just did. It just reverberated my soul.
Oh,
The going to the water.
take me to the water.
Yeah.
Take me to the water to be baptized.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So powerful. You make me think when you said the water breaks, and then you said the next stage. These are metaphors, friends, but these are and I believe they're so powerful because they're spiritually seated. I believe these are truths that are spiritually seated. That's what causes the hair to stand up on the back of our neck. That's what causes the tears to flow. Somebody in the chat said they don't understand what's going on. They're crying. And I shared with them, you're healing. When you have those out-of-body experiences or moments where you're crying and you're goose, that's healing going on in your soul. And when you were talking about the birthing process, Rosa, I remember my wife has given birth to, I was in the room with all 4 of our children when they're born. And one of the things the doctor said was when the contraction comes, which the contraction is the discomfort that you were talking about, it's the pushing from all sides, and it hurts like crazy, right? But in the midst of the highest hurt, what does the doctor tell the mom to do? You gotta push. Now I think it's really important to understand the timing of pushing. I want you to talk about this for me a little bit. The timing of pushing, because if you push too soon, the water hasn't broken, things are not in line yet. And if you push too soon, you can actually damage both yourself and the life that you're carrying because you're trying to push too soon. Yes?
Yes. And what I would say is, I mean, like you really just said it. And so that when we take that metaphor of timing and clarity and team, because one of the things I heard somebody say recently, that birth was not a medical experience before. Birth was just a natural experience, and you had doulas and midwives and people who came to help these women, and especially in villages or places where they didn't have, and even in small towns, like they had a midwife. And so she came and she knew what the timing was right. And she knew that if the maybe the baby was breech and the feet were up forward, or maybe the cord was around the baby's neck. And so it's like, whoa, hold up. Okay, just breathe. Don't push. And so it's the same thing that, like you're saying, you have to have wisdom, and we need guides. Like I'm a coach, and I have coaches, because I wouldn't trust a coach who doesn't have a coach. First of all, if if you're not coachable and you can't be taught, you can't coach me. And so we always need to be in relationship with somebody who is further along than us, may have more experience, or loves us enough to say, wait. Loves us enough to say, no, not, no, not yet, no, not now. And again, that goes back to what we're telling ourselves, because if we're constantly berating ourselves, nothing ever happens for me. Things never go my way. I'm never going to be a good, whatever that is. I'm not going to have enough. I'm not going to be enough. All of those things. And then you need that person to tell you, you need to stop, because what you're doing is you're speaking that into your life. So again, that community, that guide, that direction. And it's not that somebody is thinking for you. It is somebody who is holding space and bearing witness on your behalf, so that when they see the challenges that are coming up, or that you may not know about, they can help you through that process.
Yeah. Nobody gets there alone, right?
Nope.
Nobody
Yeah.
gets there alone. It's magic what you said. I dropped it in the chat that the birthing process was not first a medical experience. Boy, I hope we get that, friend. Nothing was what
Right.
it is right now. We've made it this, friend. That's the danger of what society says is. Because what society says is should only resonate with what you already know is.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Right.
creation is creation. What we do is we discover it. We don't invent it. We discover what is. And that's a trust on a different level, a deeper level to know what is, it always has been. Since the beginning of time, eternity, it is. So science comes along, society comes along, and we discover something. And then the challenge is we call it something, we label it something, and then we determine somehow everybody needs it. So all of us spend all of our lifetime, money, existence trying to get it, trying to find it. And then we
Mm-hmm.
condemn ourselves because we don't have it. And people capitalize on it going, you need this in order to do this. And that's not true at all. I agree what you said, Roz. I always said when I had my church, I said, if somebody came through my church one time and got what they needed, I believe that I had done my job. Right?
Yes.
But the concept of society is let's keep you broken. Back to our beautiful soul in the chat that said nobody's broken. But hence therapy and society. Let me keep you broken because then I need to keep you dependent on me, and therefore I can always be your answer. No, the answer is in you, friend. Roz is the coach. We are the coaches that shed light on you so that you can see within you. And then when you see within you, we go, thank you, Lord, for helping me help her. The best thing I can do is help you, right, Roz? The best thing we can do is help other people.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
So
giving
profound.
giving ourselves permission, not being afraid of your gift and your greatness, because to your point, that the way people, and sometimes it's not even from a bad place, because I know when I was younger, I remember at one point my father said, but honey, you're smart. You can have a real job, because he couldn't understand that his daughter was an artist. Like that was scary for him. It was like, how's she going to eat? How's she going to live? Who's she going to be?
Yeah.
And so when we allow ourselves, though, to say, this is my gift. So whether my gift is I'm a healer, maybe my gift is I'm an accountant, because people think like numbers, like my eyes glaze over. So, but people can look at a spreadsheet and tell you, no, your business is going in the wrong direction.
Yes.
So again, we each have this gifting and we each have this calling. And yet, if we keep playing small, if we keep apologizing for who we are and we don't grow into our greatness, then we have done a disservice to the gift. We've done a disservice to the giver of the gift. And more importantly, all those people who have missed us because we played small and we never reached them.
Yeah. I love it. Somebody's waiting for me to not play small. I love, Nisa just dropped it in the chat. Healing is the revealing. I love it when we open up our eyes to see. I think I was walking in my field the other morning and I kind of heard in my soul, Roz, this question just reverberated in me. Jeff, what do you want? If you could have anything, what would you want? And I know in my younger years, Roz, I would have jumped all over that and start naming all these things, right? And this time, for the first time ever, I just paused and I said softly back, I want to know what to ask for.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's whatever I say is going to be limited compared to what could be, right? So just give me the wisdom to know. And we're running. Would you believe that we are running out of time already? Would you believe that this hour has flown by, Roz?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
It was a great conversation.
I love it. Friends in the house, have you been enjoying our conversation tonight? I cannot thank you enough for being here. I want to know what to ask for. Jim says that was a good one, Jeff. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the feedback. You all are so special to be in this room tonight with us. You have an opportunity for people to get involved in. Roz, I don't want to leave our conversation without making that available. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? I'm going to drop that link in the chat while you describe what that opportunity is for us. Can you do that?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm doing a master class at the end of this month because one of the things, again, I believe in building solid businesses and brands so that you do have the resources to put your message out there. So I have a content to cash workshop, and all of these principles that I've shared tonight, I teach you how to apply those principles to your business so that you can build your business and your brand so that you can attract your ideal client, the person who's looking for you and needing you so that you can get your message out there, that you can get your service out there. And so it's content to cash. It's a workshop, and you'll have an opportunity to, there's two levels. You can either be in the general admission and you'll still get a ton of information. And then there's a VIP that you get an extra hour with me where I'll be answering specific questions about the business. So click the link, get as much information as you can. If you have any questions, you can reach out. You can reach me online at Roz, R-O-Z, Roz Diva Nation at most platforms. So I'm happy to answer your questions, and I would love to, share with you and serve you more so that you can serve more people as well.
I love it. I've dropped Roz's links in the chat, friends. Make sure you visit her website. You can follow her on Instagram. She's on YouTube. And then this content to cash opt-in is available in the chat. Maybe, friend, you've joined us tonight. You're picking up what Roz is putting down, and there's a part of you that knows that it's your time now. You just need a little help to get over this hump, to get on so that you can shine. I believe there's people in the room tonight, Roz, that it's time for them. It's their time now. I'd love you to take 60 seconds, the last little bit of time we got together, and just sow into them one more time. Encourage somebody and some more people who are listening. Give us a few tools, 2-3 tips that we can apply and take with us from our conversation tonight. Can you do that for us?
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. And so the first thing that I would say is know that there is greatness in you. Know that you are here for a purpose. Like I said earlier, you were created by a divine creator to be creative. And so those creative ideas that you have, those creative dreams that you have, that is the roadmap to your destiny. That is what you're called to do. So do not play small. Listen to that still small voice. Trust your dream. Trust your calling. Trust that what you are longing for was put in you. There's a scripture that says that God will give you the desires of your heart. That doesn't mean that God will give you what you want. God will tell you what you need to want. So just like Jeff said, he said when God asked him that, you said, what question should I ask? So the desire that you have is the way that you were divinely created to serve and to show up in this world and to make a difference. So trust who you are and know that your challenge, because I know a lot of us are dealing with different degrees of mental health, your challenge is also part of the wiring of your creativity and the beauty that is within you. Sometimes we're so sensitive to the divine that we don't always function as well in this realm. So just know that you're good and you're amazing and you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Friends, thank you for sharing the love. Go ahead. I'm going to give you an opportunity to share some more love. Roz Clark, thank you. Dream Doula, thank you. Anybody feel like what was in them just shifted a little bit further out of us? I don't know. I think we're going to get some testimonies of some dreams being birthed after this conversation. Thank you again, Roz, for being our special guest right here on Circles Masterclass. We're honored to have you. Thank you. Everybody else,
Thank
thank
you
you
for
for
having
joining
me.
us. You're so welcome. And at the conclusion of our meeting here in just a moment, I'm going to be closing our room tonight. But as I do, you're going to have an opportunity to share your feedback, your thoughts, and your comments. I wondered if you would take a moment to do that. Share in those comments those things that Roz has shared that resonate with you. Give us your feedback. We'd love to hear. If you like what you have heard tonight, and this is your first time in one of my rooms, this is what you can expect. Whenever I get in a room, I love to be able to make space for people to be blessed and to be healed. So we thank you. You can follow me, and you're going to notice the next time that I have a class. Friends, you've been with Jeff and Roz live here on Circles Masterclass. Happy Thursday to you all over. I'm going to ask you to do me one favor. On the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself and just shout out what's on your heart. And we're going to end our meeting after that. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
God is good.
This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roz.
You're
Keep 'em
welcome.
coming.
Thank you for being
Thank you,
here.
Roz.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great meeting.
I love it. I love it, everybody. Thank you again, Roz. Blessings back to you 1,000-fold. And we'll see everybody again right here on Circles Masterclass. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.